So basically dividing these up into 4 sides that I'm putting the holes in. So I'm going to keep working on this. I got this stack over here and all these still to finish up. Okay, so today's the day I'm heating up the wax right now. It should be done pretty soon. But in the meantime, I can go ahead and start putting some spores in some of these, and then I'll come back and hit them with some wax to seal them up. And this is from Field and Forest Products, and this is a block of their Shiitakes. They are called as Halo. So this is a sawdust spawn from Field and Forest Products. This one's a warm weather strain, so that's why I went with it, because it's going to be hot here this summer. And then I got a cold weather strain to see which one works better. I'll do inoculation of both. Right now I'm going to start with this one, so I can get that whole thing sealed. There we go. Ouch, that's too hot. Well, that's a bummer. Okay. I was just thinking it'd be a lot easier to bring the container over here. I'm just making sure that I get everything covered on these. Okay, this is the start of the second batch. Of course, I don't even have the first batch done, but I'm going to go ahead and start this one with what logs I have. Then I'll do some more later. Got to kind of determine what I'm going to need. I'll tell you what what they are. The first one I did was Halo, and they're still a Shiitake, but those are warm weather Shiitake. And then these ones, I got to get the name of them, but they're a cool weather one. I forget the name off the top of my head, so I got to look it up. And I'm writing them on the end of the logs with a permanent marker, although in time that'll fade away. So they do sell at the place I bought these markers that are made of metal that you can screw on there. Fills up this little cylinder here. That's what you get. Whoops. Maybe I'll get some mushrooms growing down there. But anyway, that's what you get, is that little guy there, and that's what's going into it. So, this is the long walk down to the creek. I mean, when you're packing a bunch of stuff, especially when you're packing water uphill. But I gotta pack everything down. So, we're about level right this second with my spring. And I do have another camera, a wildlife camera down here, that I need to check in a little bit and see if we have caught anything on it. So I'll check that in a little bit here. See how this creek is running. I'm sure it's getting low. You can see how the cattle just come through here and they tear this up. I don't know if they've messed up any of my plants that I've got planted down here. I'll check them out too, because I got blueberries and stuff down here. Yeah, the creek is not hardly flowing anymore, just a little bit. So I'll throw some logs in there. We'll still get some water on them. See, I got a planter in the water right here. But if you look down here, you can see where the cattle are just chewing this up basically. So I'll start bringing stuff down here. So these first ones I'm bringing down are my halo shiitakes. The other ones are mishappiness shiitakes. The halo are hot weather, and the mishappiness are cold weather. One more trip after this stage. Smoke these guys tonight. So these are 5 of the rainbow trout. So these things I've been smoking for probably a little over an hour. I'm going to go ahead and smoke them throughout the night. And it's right around 172 degrees that it's smoking at. That's as low as I seem to be able to go. But tonight, as the temperatures go down, it should get a little lower. I only had alder to work with, so I'm trying that out instead of apple wood. Normally I'd use apple wood for smoking. And on top of that, normally I would marinate these things for a couple days in some salt water. I only did it for a couple hours before popping them on the grill, just because it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. So I just chipped up some fir tree limbs that I had cut down last year. So I make some nice wood chips. Let's put some extra soil here. I'm making a little area here that I'm going to put some high bush blueberries plants in. And this is my garden area, so I thought this corner would work good for the blueberries. It'll get some sun. You got to get some shade too. And they want about a 30% mix of wood chips in the soil for drainage, I'm pretty sure. And they don't want you to use pine, so I had to go find one of my fir trees. And then I'm going to use the rest of this in this tractor's bucket as a what I'm going to put on top of all of this, which will help contain moisture because it gets really dry here. So I brought in all this soil from another area where I've been leveling for the Quonset hut, and I just thought, you know, I need a place to put the stuff. Rather than digging this up, we're in a low part of the property for the garden area anyways. So it's a lower part. And I wanted to make sure that I raised it just a little bit. And it just makes it easier to plant because it's good fresh soil that hasn't had a lot of needles in it yet. Although there's a pine tree right next to us. I'm at the 4,300 foot level, so these are probably the only blueberries that'll grow up here. These high bush. So for example, this guy's Rika blueberry. And I found a farm out in Oregon that sells these plants. And then I'll pop up here. This one's a Toro blueberry. That'll be my next one. And they're all considered a high bush. And this one's a blueberry. Actually, all right. This will make a good raised bed piece here. A monster though. Not a lot of cranking room here, so I don't know how much I'm going to get it turned before I'm going to have to try to manually move it or get the tractor. So we ended up with 2 beams out of this. One should be about full length. I think with a little curvature that's on the other end, that's not going to be a big game changer for me. Yeah, I gotta get this I should be able to lift out of here. So this is a 6 by 12. This will go on at the cabin, probably between a window or between a door on it, is what the plan is with this. These gloves have seen better days. I go through gloves, at least 3 pairs of gloves in a season. I think part of it is because I use the gloves when I'm replacing blades, so I think they're cutting them up. Because I'm right-handed, that seems to be the worst one too. At any rate, I'll probably just keep doing those now without gloves on and just be really careful with them, because they're trashing these things and they're really not that cheap. So I'd like to see how long I can get a pair of gloves to last. I'd love them, one pair to last a season. That would be nice. Again, these two, I can make a complete 2x6 out of it. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a outer bark there, but that would go away. So, yeah, it's going to be a nice board. Now mind you, these are not your store-bought 2x6s. These are going to be much larger, much thicker.